Hey, it's DJ. Before we head to the show, let me tell you about my new full-day private pay intensive. Some practices need more than just a strategy call. They need a full day. The full-day intensive is 5 to 6 hours with me on Zoom where we go through everything. Your niche, messaging, marketing, visibility, rates, referrals, and a complete 90-day action plan. This is the playbook applied specifically to your practice in one day. You come in prepared, I come in ready, knowing where to focus. You leave with a comprehensive strategy built around your actual practice. Learn more at privatepaypractitioners.com. Let's head to the show. Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are. It is DJ, and I am back for Private Pay Practitioners Premium Podcast. I have another fabulous guest. My colleague, Katie McKenna, is here. Katie, welcome.
Hello.
Listen, we've been connected on social media for a while, but this is our first time chatting. Isn't that interesting how that happens?
It's nice when it finally time arrives to get to that connection. Yeah.
Right. So Katie's been in the field for over 22 years. She's a psychotherapist and a nutritionist, and we'll dive into that, I hope. And so Katie, tell us about your specialties, where your practice is, and anything you would think would be helpful for us to know about you.
Sure. Well, just to get us started, I'm based in Seattle, so I'm licensed in Washington. I can see clients in Washington. Because I do have a nutrition degree as well, I often work with people in the whole field of eating disorders and disordered eating, chronic illness, and then also anxiety and trauma. And I really love to take therapy to beyond traditional therapy. So EMDR is something that I use quite frequently, and somatic experiencing. I can get pretty existential. So I always screen clients that they're ready for that if they're going to be a good fit. And then my new thing that I am really passionate about is I'm doing some work in some workshops on perimenopause.
Hot topic, for sure. Yeah. It legit is, though, for sure.
Right.
Absolutely. I have a colleague here in Georgia who does this work too.
Okay.
Yeah, so important. We need to have more conversations about perimenopause, menopause. And I just met someone, a very lovely person. She was so passionate about menopause. And she also works with the spouses, the men, whose wives are going through menopause. And I was like, I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's a whole nother part of what's been missed in this transition phase. Yeah.
Right. It's a whole thing. And then it got me thinking about not just that, but what about men in general who are aging, and what is happening for them? Because listen, I'm feeling it.
Yeah. Right.
I'm feeling it.
Well, in my talk about it, I definitely cover some of the biology and the neuroendocrine changes that happen in a person's body, people with ovaries, just to also be gender inclusive. So I know about that from the female side of the medicine, but besides all that, it's really about the psychology of midlife, which just then applies to everyone.
Everybody. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we'll definitely want to talk about those workshops that you're doing.
Sure.
But I'm curious. So you're part of the private pay community. Have you always been private pay?
No, I graduated in 2009 and then worked at an eating disorder clinic and facility for a number of years, where I learned so much and was able to get my post-grad hours through that, which was very helpful. And then I transitioned to, private practice in 2011 and then private pay in 2016.
What happened? Why did you switch?
That's a great question. I feel like I really enjoyed my education to become a therapist and a nutritionist, but there was scarcely anything about running a business. And so that's all been kind of learn as I go. But something that happened sometime in probably 2015 or so, I got a letter, can I just be really frank
But
about what insurance
uh,
company it was?
please.
Okay. I got a letter from Regents indicating that they were actually like decreasing the reimbursement rate. And I just sat with that and I didn't like it. I felt that how am I supposed to create like trust and faith in my own career development if somebody outside myself has the controls? And I didn't think it like the prognosis of that didn't seem like successful to that somebody else could just cut my rates. And so that's what actually started me in the process of slowly getting off panels.
Mhm.
And I kind of took it really easy so that I could like kind of build a launch. So I quit some of the panels that I really just didn't have that many clients with. Like I can't
Yeah.
remember at this stage, but like let's say maybe I didn't have that many people on like First Choice or United. And then I remember I kept Primera for the longest because Primera was
Yeah.
also one of the easiest ones to work with. Um,
Okay.
what ended up being funny that I hadn't predicted though was that then I just had a whole caseload of Primera clients. It's not that I necessarily had like people paying out of pocket for
Yeah.
uh, and then I slowly did drop Primera as well.
hmm And what was your clients' responses? How did they react?
Hmm. Well, like I guess I'm realizing that was almost 10 years ago at this point. I think that a lot of people, I had a mix. There is some people that probably just absolutely needed to stay on insurance, which is understandable. And one of the things I love about our work is helping people be resourced with other referrals. So
Yeah.
would provide a lot of referrals and help find like a really good fit and also give them plenty of time to make that transition. Because it even takes time to cancel the contracts with the insurance companies. Um, and then there was also plenty of people that were willing and able to pay that increase, like out of pocket fee, and then stay on. I helped them become like prepared and understand how to do the super bills.
hmm
Even did like maybe some extra hand holding to make sure that people understood that side of the paperwork so that they
Yeah.
didn't have,
Same.
minimize the headaches. Um, and even still to this day, Primera, they have pretty decent like reimbursement rates on some of their plans for out of network providers. So
Oh,
um,
wow.
I like to help people, if they've got insurance, I definitely want them to be strategic and take advantage of their plans if they can.
Yes.
Hmm.
Some of my clients just don't even bother. They don't
Yeah,
even
no.
bother.
At
Yeah.
this point, I used to get like EOBs from a lot
Yeah.
of insurance companies, and I would know for if people were doing it. And I don't know if companies have changed that or not. I hardly ever get those, so I really actually don't even. It's not a conversation. It's rarely a conversation that I know whether or not people are getting reimbursement or not.
Yeah, for me, it comes up when I think the money is starting to hit that, hey, I'm running out of funds, you
Yeah.
know? And
Hmm.
it's like, well, you have a potentially an opportunity. And then what they realize is like, oh, well, there's like a time limit on this, right?
Right. Hmm.
Yeah. I will say something to them early on, but then I got to stay out of it. It's not my business.
Isn't that's I think part of it is understanding it's not our job to police or caretake what and how our clients choose to spend their dollars. We can support them and help them be informed, but then some of it's not of our business.
Right, I just did a whole workshop on that, stay out of your
Um,
clients' pockets. Yeah, we just
yeah,
have to.
right.
Yeah, we have to. And, I wanna go back to the message that you got about the reduction in the rate.
Okay. Hmm.
Um, that's horrible,
Mm,
right? They don't have a conversation with you. They
true.
don't really care how it impacts you.
Hmm.
How long did you sit with that before you made that decision? Was it instant? You were like, I'm done, I'm out. Or was it like a couple months?
I, I have a pretty strong memory of that. It felt pretty clear right away that this is not okay.
Yeah.
Um, I might have taken a little time to research how to go about that process and to think it over and to feel like, okay, can it be successful to go out like on my own?
Yeah.
But I think I knew in my heart that it's like I didn't trust
Mhm.
the company to be able to partner with. And that's a big deal.
Yeah. They're
Hmm.
not interested in partnering
That's true. Yeah.
at all, at all. They're interested in making money.
Right.
I think what I just heard, I was watching something in Congress. They were talking about how like CVS owns Aetna. I
Really?
was like, CVS owns Aetna?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And so they have like CVS, and then they have Aetna, and then they have the Caremark, and then they also own, I guess, the drug manufacturer. So it's like
Hmm.
they in our pockets.
No. Yeah.
And I was just like, that's why I'm so glad I got out of there. It was scary to do. Like
Hmm.
when you made that decision, you were like, I'm out. I got to transition out of this.
Yeah.
Were you scared to do it?
I have to think back a little bit. I think what really helped me is that it's not like I drew this immediate line in the sand. It was like I'm completely going off insurance. I mean, because I took the time with each company to like go off, I probably did it over the course of a year and a half or 2 years. So that
Okay.
actually helped. Hmm.
Oh, that's good to know because,
Yeah.
I'm asking the question because we have people in our community who are in various stages of this, right?
Yeah.
And a
Right.
lot of the people that I sit with are terrified to make the change. And
Hmm.
what I try to tell them is like, you have to do it strategically,
Yeah.
right? There has to be a plan in place. I
Hmm.
always try to encourage, saving monies. I didn't have enough money when I did it because I felt like I was desperate that I had to do it.
Got it.
And yeah, and so I struggled for a bit, like just absolutely struggled.
Hmm.
And I'm very honest about that. It was hard. Um, and I wouldn't tell anybody to just jump. I jumped
Yeah.
because I was so mad. I was mad,
Yeah.
and that's what it was. It was like I was mad and I was like, I'm going to punish you.
Uh,
And punish punish myself for a bit,
and you
right?
jump.
But and it just jumped. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was so funny. I've told the story before, but I essentially like lined it all up so where they would my contracts would terminate while I was on vacation in Italy at a therapist retreat. so so this is so interesting. So I'm like in Italy at this
Mhm.
conference and I'm setting up I decided to leave the EHR that I was with and I was like I'm going to start fresh. And I was setting up simple practice while I was in Italy
Mhm.
putting my new clients into the simple practice while I was supposed to be resting and learning. But when I came back, I had no insurance.
Uh-huh.
I had no insurance, and less than half of my clients left.
Oh, less than half
So,
left. Uh-huh. Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was quite scary, but grateful. I'm grateful that I did that.
Mhm.
And so I sit with people every day and try to help them make a transition plan that works for them. And so what I'm hearing you say is that you, over a year and a half, maybe even 2 years, had a plan, which is really good.
Yeah. It was it allowed me to adjust emotionally because keeping that last one, which was Primera, was kind of like that safety net, a security blanket. And so it probably allowed
Yeah.
my confidence to kind of grow and test the waters a bit. Hmm.
Right. Yeah. And so, what was it like the first year or so as a private pay practitioner? What did you notice?
Well, I have to say that my experience in my career, I've had a lot of like success, a lot of luck. I've been busy. In fact, the only time I haven't been busy was like maybe parts of 2024 and 2025. So even though
Hmm.
when I transitioned, I stayed full and busy with the wait list. I do think having a really clear niche, because back then I was almost only eating disorders. Um,
Yeah.
that makes a difference too. And even though there's still more I think I could learn about refining my niche, I know that's something that you share with people a lot about how important that is. And I think it
Yeah.
really helped me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you've been full, except for those little moments that you mentioned, with a
Yeah.
wait list at times.
Yeah.
That
Hmm.
makes me so curious. So, like, what do you think? Where were those referrals coming from? Were they coming from website? Were they coming from Psychology Today, word of mouth, colleagues?
Yep. I used to get more from Psychology Today. That's gone down over the years. So that could
Yes.
be an interesting thing to talk about or problem solve for. Um, I have stayed really connected in the whole field of eating disorders. We've got a couple different like treatment programs here in Seattle, like
Hmm.
ERC and Opal and the Emily program. There's a number of other ones that are often, it really, as a community, there's just almost no competition there. People are just there to really help clients find the right fit.
Yeah.
And so I think the regular marketing and networking in that really helped. Um, I also, this was part, I think having the nutrition license ended up being more of an advantage than I knew, because I didn't like do it because it was smart. um, uh, that really helped me. It's always important to me to follow up with people's other healthcare providers. So if somebody had like a doctor or somebody else like on their team, I always get like an ROI signed and follow up. And then through the years that I've made some good connections with other doctors and like chiropractors. And so that's
Mhm.
been a source of referrals as well. So I would say
Yeah.
that would be the three: the eating disorder community, other doctors, and then Psychology Today.
Okay.
Hmm.
Can you say more about what that connection looks like when you're reaching out to other providers that
Hmm.
your client sees?
Hmm.
Because I don't think people notice that could be a potential strategy,
Yeah.
right? To get more referrals.
Hmm.
And I've been speaking about that, the importance of that. Can you say more about it?
Sure. So I got my education was at Bastyr University, which
Hmm.
it's based here in Seattle, and it's really known to be like a naturopathic doctor university. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. And also a lot of people go there to get acupuncture degrees. So they also
Yeah.
have nutrition and psychology. But I think because that was where my education was based, I always had classmates that were also becoming naturopathic doctors and acupuncturists. And it set my kind of context up of like really how rewarding it was to have like that kind of shared space with people.
Yeah.
So, on my intake form, I ask if people have like a primary care provider or other healthcare um, folks on their team. And I sometimes it really doesn't seem relevant. Like the patient who's coming to see me doesn't necessarily need for me to consult with their doctor or something like that. But
Yeah.
uh, oftentimes it can be relevant, and it's for the patient's good to have more
Yeah.
people to make sure you're not doing any mixed messages. Or usually what I say to the doctor is there any way I can support the work that the client's already doing with the doctor? What
Right.
doctors often tell me is that they don't have enough time with their patients, that they often want to be able to, they say like, hey, you need to like, do stress reduction or exercise more, whatever it is that doctors want to say, but they don't have the time. And I think as therapists, ideally we do have the time with clients, especially if we're seeing them weekly.
We do. We have
Yeah.
at least 50 minutes or 55,
Right.
or
Right.
maybe even more if we do like extended sessions. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so we can really kind of support that treatment plan and I think really help everybody feel more successful and with the priority, of course, of the patient having the best care.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, when you reach out to that doctor's office,
Hmm.
are you speaking directly with that provider, or are you speaking with like either referral coordinator or nurse practitioner?
It depends on how big their office is. Some uh, doctors have such a small practice that I actually get to be in contact directly with them. Sometimes I just, end up sending something to the front desk.
Yeah.
And, certainly a fair percentage of the time I reach out and I don't ever hear anything back. People are busy. I'm not gonna like,
Yeah, it happens.
right. unless it's essential to a client's care, I won't like push on it.
Push.
Then
Yeah.
again, there, you know, and that's why, like, it's not necessarily that if you reach out to 10 doctors, all 10 of them are going to call you back or you'll establish a good relationship with. But like sometimes you just hit it off with somebody else in the healthcare field. And there's a resonance there of like, oh, I would feel really good sending more clients to you and vice versa. And so it's just, you know, one or two end up sticking over the years.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. I often tell people is like, just send the note, send the email
Mhm.
and let it go. If they respond, great. If they don't, great.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything about you. And I think a lot of times I'm sitting with people who take it personal when they don't hear back. And I'm just like, you got to have a thicker skin
Hmm.
because we're running a business, and that's one of the things that I think is one of the hardest things for us therapists to accept is that
Hmm.
we have a business license.
Right.
you know Unless we're working for somebody, we are running a business, and so you have to show up in that business in that CEO role,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we just
You,
have to.
you know, you're actually reminding me because of a memory that's come back when I had made the transition and was really going fully into private pay. Um, now that I remember, there was a lull. That wasn't a terrible lull, but like definitely sometime. And I remember I challenged myself that summer. There's a local hike here called Mount Si, and I mean, I'm not a super athletic person, but I was like, you need to keep your mind busy so that it doesn't go what I like CBT style. I always call it trash thoughts. I'm like, you can't afford trash thoughts right now, like taking things personal, right? Like this will work. It might be a matter of time. So stay busy. And so I challenged myself to do like 100 miles on Mount Si over the course of like 4 or 5 months. I just kept hiking the same hike.
What?
But I told myself I needed to stay busy because otherwise, you know, sometimes you can start to think, what's wrong with me or why isn't this working? Or, you know, and all of that kind of, it slows down the momentum energetically. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're right. You're right. It does. I mean, I look at my practice as like I got like an enterprise going.
Hmm.
I'm having lots of fun, and my practice has actually like evolved
Hmm.
into more of a coaching practice, which is really shocking to me. Even though I've been coaching and supervising for a long time,
Yeah.
this shift just happened.
Hmm.
And it's like, wow. And I have a little anxiety about it. Because I'm used to having like the weekly recurring therapy clients.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's a different vibe for like the coaching, right? But the weekly therapy clients is like they're taking breaks, they're graduating,
Yes.
right?
Right. Hmm.
Which we love. I love a graduation.
Yeah.
Uh, but it feels different. It
It
feels
is.
different. And I just reminded me, yeah, it is different. I just remind myself, like, you're still running a business. It doesn't matter if it's a clinical one or a coaching one. You made the decision,
Hmm.
right? So I
Yeah.
made the decision. I'm doing both. And so I'm trying to like settle into that, but I still feel that little anxiety, get a little angsty.
Hmm.
And today I was like, you might be working too much
Yeah.
because it's spinning the wheels, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I had to go back to my calendar, like I tell people, like I wrote in
Hmm.
my book. I have to schedule.
Hmm.
So I went in and made sure that my schedule aligned with what was actually needed,
Yeah.
right? And not doing more than what is needed, and allowing myself to take the breaks because that is needed too.
Absolutely. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's part of this goes a little bit beyond just being private pay, but just running my own business was reminding myself like I didn't want to have to go beg somebody for vacation time or time off. But I have to remember to give it to myself and like you're saying to schedule
Yes.
it. Mhm.
Schedule it.
Mhm.
Yes, schedule it. Because I'll forget. Like I can't tell you how many times that I've been at work and it's been a holiday. It's
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
have it on my calendar.
Yeah. Years ago, I realized I was always I was like a miser about my vacation days. Like I would always feel like it was too much. And I realized I should, if you worked, you had a W-2 job, you get a certain track of how many hours you're allowed to take or days or whatever. And so I finally went and actually ran the numbers on my vacation days. I was like, oh, I am at liberty to take more vacation days, but I had to see the data and the numbers to feel like the right amount of like freedom for it. So there's so much
Yes.
to track as far as like being a business person too. Yeah.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I think what I read, in our correspondence, was like wearing too many hats,
Oh, I
right?
dementia.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, if I actually wore hats, I would have a bunch. Talk to us about wearing too many hats. What does that look like for you?
Well, I'll tell you why I said that most recently is because something's going on with on my website. There's a part where you can sign up for to send me a message, and that goes to Wix, and then it's supposed to go from Wix to Mailchimp, and I don't know, something was like breaking down, and I was getting these little
Oh,
alert messages from Mailchimp, and I tried to problem solve it, and I do have somebody that helps me with the website. Uh, this fantastic person who's doing this huge other project. And for the first time ever, she's like, Katie, I don't think I can get to it. And so, because I tried to like at least find my person I could delegate to. And anyway, so it's like things like that, like some like these weird technology things about like why is Wix and MailChimp not talking to each other? And sometimes I'm just like, I just want to be a therapist. I don't want to, you know,
yes. Don't want to figure it out. It's like
yeah,
me trying to figure out a new platform to have the podcast on. It was
right.
like, what? I'm looking at the FAQs and YouTube and
Yeah,
everything in between to figure it out. You're
yeah.
right. We do have to have a lot of hats. We
Mm-hmm.
got to be the website
Yeah.
person. We got to be the administrative assistant,
Mm-hmm.
the HR.
Yep.
You
Health work
you work
billing.
in
Mm-hmm.
building all
Yeah.
the things,
Yeah.
and it can get overwhelming. One of the things I'm trying right now is like trying to get a system in place that I can manage things a little easier, because there's like a system for this, system for that, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like there's too many systems and too many recurring charges on my card. you know
Mm-hmm.
Give me one thing.
Yeah.
But we have to like figure that part out, because that also is a part of running the business, right?
Yep.
Hard stuff, you
Well,
know?
some of it, my previous job, before I was a counselor, was working just in nutrition. And back then my job was to do like a lot of cooking demos, and I had to make little like flyers, but that was just like in the clip art days with Word doc,
I
And
remember.
so I love Canva. Now, all those little graphics, you can just delete stuff and move it so much easier. Like the truth is the technology is advancing so much that it gets smoother and smoother, but it is a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And I've learned now a little bit with video editing because I made a couple classes, and sometimes even there, I mean, the grumpy side of me would be like, I just want to be a therapist. Uh, but then again, I would sometimes I've hired people from time to time, like
Yeah.
I forget, like somebody who was supposed to help me with like social media stuff.
Yeah.
She kept saying to me, Katie, you can do it yourself. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want to do it myself.
Do you not want a job?
Right.
So
But yeah, so
weird.
like bits and pieces, now I know like a little bit of video editing.
Yeah, I took a risk, and last year and the year before, I had a marketing team. It ended up
Mm-hmm.
being a total shit show.
Oh,
I had to fire them. I felt like they were doing like some shady stuff. I felt so bad because I had introduced them to like my community, and I was like,
yeah.
oh. So I went for a few months with like no more help. And I was like, I can't do it. And so I reached back out to the community. They said, this is who we're working with. I signed up with that person. My life has changed dramatically. Dramatically. I will pay this bill,
Uh-huh.
right? Because I thought I knew Canva. They're like expert level Canva.
Yeah.
But you know what, Katie? There's some things that I'm just like, nope, hands off. It's
Hmm.
mine. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
mine. Don't
Yeah.
touch it. They don't
Uh-huh.
have access. I got to do it. You know, there's still those that parts.
Right. How do you know the parts that you want to hand off to somebody else versus, keep it to yourself?
You know, that's a hard one. It really is. I think things that are like relationship, like the podcast, like
Hmm.
you and I talking, me editing that, me packaging that, right?
Hmm.
Because there's a relationship here. There's a communication between me and you,
Hmm.
right? I want to protect that, right? Versus a Canva graphic going on Instagram that talks about one of my new offerings.
Okay. Right. I get it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like my email. Don't nobody touches my email. That's
Right.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope. You do not have access to EHR. That's me. Right.
Hmm.
There's relationships. So I think it's really around like relationship
Okay.
stuff.
That makes
Like
sense.
it's mine. Yeah, I
Hmm.
protect it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very protective of the relationships. You probably have seen me in the private pay Facebook group, not tolerating BS. You know,
Sure. Yeah.
uh, it- because those are relationships. I
Yeah.
may
And you
not
keep it
know
safe.
exactly. I may not know the almost 17,000 people, intimately, but they walked into the door of the place that I built.
Yeah. There's 17,000. That's
Just about is so close. I mean, if we take what's in the other groups and combine it, is 17,000.
okay. Way to go. Yeah.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have it protected so that, um, but I love the work that we do. I'm still
Mhm.
having fun as a therapist and also
Yeah.
as a business coach.
Hmm.
Are there some things that you were going to talk to us about, some workshops, some things that you knew that you're doing? Can you say more?
Sure. Well, and I'll tie in just something that I've personally found helpful too is in today's world, there is so much like kind of quick turnover. And so like the antidote to any perfectionism to me was this idea of like, it's also some of this stuff disappears. So even if I make a Canva graphic, uh, on a workshop that I'm going to do, like it'll probably in a year time, I'll want it to be different anyway. So nothing has to be like perfect. Um,
Yes.
I did a project writing. I was working on like writing a book, and one of the best pieces of advice I got was to write a shitty first draft, and
Oh, yeah.
that was the best advice for me because I'm like, let's just do C-level work to get it out there, right? And then it can build and improve as I grow, and so that's just really helped me as I've followed my different interests and projects and the project that I've got going on right now is something called I've called it the Menopause Talks. It originated through a group of therapists were actually talking. It came up about menopause and just feeling as individuals unprepared, and then also like unprepared for like helping clients
Mm.
through it. And so I realized with my nutrition and mental health background that like I was actually kind of at the right space. I'm like that I could grow into being an expert in that. So
Yeah.
and now that I've started to do the research on it, like I just can't stop talking about it. I've got two programs really. One is the one that's actually for other clinicians for private practice or for other therapists. It counts for 2 continuing ed credits, and that one's just
Ooh,
called the biopsychosocial impacts of perimenopause. You know,
okay.
and that's for people to learn like diagnosis differentials, like what's the difference between recurring depression in like a middle-aged person versus a perimenopause low mood, things like that, which
Ooh.
has been super fun. And then the other one that's just open to everybody, including it's open to all genders. It's open to people with their partners as well. And that one's called the Menopause Talks, and it's a 2-hour workshop. It talks a bit about the neuroendocrine changes that go through that a body goes through and those how the brain has to adjust to like less estrogen. And then the second half of it really is just what I consider is the psychology of midlife. Like what happens when we arrive at life and we have or have not achieved all the things we thought we were going to achieve. And that there's often it's a place of potential, but it's also kind of like a void, right? Like, society's
Hmm.
told us like you have to do this, this, and this in life. And you arrive at midlife, and like I said, you've either done it or you haven't, so there's either like grief or reward there, but the what's next is a whole important topic.
I was just thinking that. So what happens to
Mm-hmm.
like the person who arrives at midlife and they came with some goals in mind and they completed them?
Mm-hmm. Right.
What do they do?
I mean,
That's
yeah,
important.
it is important because even though that sounds like success, and it is in many ways, there can be grief with getting to the point of like, I've completed what I've been told to do or what I wanted to do, and the not knowing piece of what's
Yeah.
next. And then if
Hmm.
you also include so many things like as in our Western culture with like ageism and all of that, there's this idea, this conditioning that we just start to decline, and that's not inherently true. But if we also if we think that's the only possibility, then we also don't know like what else to reach for.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh, this sounds so important.
Uh,
So where do you see this going for you?
well, in the past couple of years, I've been kind of like trying to drum up group classes again. It's something I used to do, and I've had trouble actually like launching classes and essentially like getting enough participants.
Hmm.
So I've tried some things related to anxiety. I did something with like binge eating, things that I was interested in, but they
Yeah.
ended up falling a little flat. So with this one, I thought I was just literally going to follow like what's compelling and what's exciting to me, and to try to like put my thumb on the pulse of, does this meet a need in our, communities? And that's kind of what's happening, is that I'm getting a lot of interest from all different kinds of people. It's there's a lot of energy and a lot of action happening behind it. So right now it's just these 2-hour workshops that are happening kind of like every other month. And then my idea is to just keep cross pollinating with other providers doing like midlife work,
Yeah.
and either be like a professional resource to some people's other who have like other platforms and communities around it, or potentially I could turn it into a group if there was enough interest for that. But
Hmm.
I actually really just started it, and I want to see where it goes.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Listen, I want to put you in contact with a person I met earlier today who's doing similar work.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yes, yes. She's in
Yeah.
Well, she's out of California.
Uh-huh.
She's licensed in California, and I think Florida. And
Mm.
she's like advocate. She is on it,
Yeah.
and I will send you her info. And this
Okay.
is what I try to tell people:
Mhm.
is like you never know when that referral is going to come through, whether that's a colleague that you might connect with and build something with, or a
Mhm.
client that comes through and they sit with you for a couple years and do some really amazing work with you.
Mhm.
You just never know. And sometimes people get so discouraged because they're like, hey, I've been putting out all these feelers and no one has responded. And what I tell them is, I don't go into any networking opportunity with expectation that I'm going to get a referral.
Mhm. Mhm.
I just leave that at the door because I'm looking at building the relationship, the colleague, colleague to colleague, peer to peer, and maybe even a friend, and see
Mhm.
what happens.
I do really agree. I think it's an opportunity to get really like personable with our colleagues and peers, and um I think that actually lays a stronger foundation to
Yeah.
for whatever's to come. And I think, I mean, when I think back to, sometimes I have a number of clients that are in their early 20s that are just kind of like, what am I supposed to do with my life? And now that I can look back on my career at this point, already some 20 years in, like first of all, I never would have thought I was going to become a therapist. I didn't know it was going to take the twists and turns that it's taken. So there's a lot we don't know about what comes in life, and I think some of the work is to try to figure out what like where your yes is in the moment, and for like
Mm.
smaller steps. And I'm getting a little existential, but it still applies to referrals. Like, we don't know where
It
the
still
referrals are coming.
applies.
We just have to trust that if you're doing your work and taking care of your clients. I mean, I think that's one of my big guidelines I learned really early on is take care of who's in front of you. And when you really
Yes.
take care of them, then honestly, I think the word of mouth, especially from therapy, that's really where you get referrals as well from
Yeah.
other clients. Yeah.
It's so amazing. And yeah, we never know when that referral is going to come through.
Yeah.
We don't know. Sometimes I've gotten referrals from people I don't even know. They
Hmm.
heard about me from somebody, and I'm grateful.
Yeah.
Just grateful, right? So I
Hmm.
think having a lot of gratitude, being creative, being open to explore new opportunities, leaning in and doing the hard thing, and
Yeah.
running these businesses, right?
Hmm.
We got to run the business while also sitting with the clients and being the therapist or nutritionist or
Yeah.
both, right?
Right.
Like yourself. And, it's all going to work out the way it's supposed to, I think.
Hmm.
That's the mindset that I try to hold on to, right? And that's what kind of keeps me coming back. Katie, I am just so excited that you were available to come in
Oh, thank
to the podcast. I've seen your face, I've seen your name, we've been connected, and
you.
now you're here. You're a member of the podcast family now, so you can come back anytime you want to
Great.
tell us about anything that you're doing. So tell the people where they can find you.
Oh, sure. Well, all my information is really on my website. It's mckennacounseling.com. I mean, I do have Instagram and TikTok now. Although, I mean, even when I was sending you said send me social handles. I never remember how to spell TikTok. So, like, I I like to learn the technology, but I also can really feel like my age in some of those ways that I'm not super quick with it all. But yeah, I mean, you can probably put however the Instagram links go, but I
I
put up videos.
will.
I try to just get up there and just kind of speak my mind about what's so interesting or what I'm learning from my clients. I kind of am on this mission that, like, really, I think mental health and psychology, like, it essentially should be like broadcast freely. And so we learn so much sitting with our clients. The little pearls and the tidbits that I learned from all of my clients, I like to, I mean, of course, protect people's privacy, but, like, put that back out there into the world.
Right. Pearls of wisdom.
Yep.
They happen. They happen when we least expect it. Thank you so much, Katie, for being here. And like I said, please come back anytime.
Yeah, I love talking about work. It's an honor for me to be here, and I really do enjoy my career, and it's easy to talk about.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
DJ.
Everyone, I have been DJ Burr. This has been the Private Pay Practitioner Premium Podcast. Please come back next week. I'll have another fabulous guest. All right, folks, that's all for this week's episode of the Private Pay Practitioners Premium Podcast. Thank you for hanging out with me, and a huge thank you to my guests for showing up and keeping it real. If you're a private pay practitioner with something to say, I want to hear from you. Go to privatepaypractitioners.com/podcast guest and fill out the application. Whether you're just starting out or you've been building for years, if you're doing the work, there's a seat at this table for you. And if you're not yet a Patreon member, let me tell you what you're missing. Early access to every episode, monthly resource drops, tools, templates, and content you can actually use in your practice today. Vault drops, community support, and direct access to everything I'm building for private pay practitioners. It's all at patreon.com/privatepay. Tiers start at $10 a month. Come join us. For everything else, courses, consulting, the playbook, the workbook, and more, go to privatepaypractitioners.com. Everything is there waiting for you. Till next time, I'm DJ Burr, and I will see you next week.